So I ordered the DJI Integra goggles on launch day, and a week later, here they are. I'm just gonna open this thing up and check it out. I haven't opened this at all yet. This is, straight from FedEx or UPS. Let's take a look. All right, here they are. Now, I was excited about these goggles because the Goggles 2 had a couple things about them that I wasn't too crazy about. First off, the price, $650. It's pretty steep, especially since I already spent, that on 2 of the V2s. So I have 2 of these because I like to fly with other people and let other people kind of do the audience feed. So I wasn't willing to jump on the Goggles 2 for that price point. Also, I heard a lot of people griping about the touchpad on the side and the lack of compatibility with the Caddx Vista. So I kind of just held off. And then they announced the Integra goggles. With the Integra goggles, the price dropped by $150. And also it's got no touchpad. It's got the dedicated joystick, just like I'm used to with, the V2. It would be here at the top. And that wasn't it. I fly the Avata, one of my many drones, and with one of the more recent firmware updates, I was dealing with that remote ID error that would refuse to let me start up the motors without connecting a phone to my goggles through the USB Type-C port. That became such a nuisance that I really stopped flying the Avata because I didn't feel like having to bring extra wiring and plug things in and having a phone hang off my head. And I didn't really feel like rolling back a firmware update using the DJI Assistant, so I kind of just let it sat and didn't really think about it. But with this, it's got the built-in GPS. So this will clear that remote ID error that I was encountering with the Avata, and with the lower price point and no touchpad, it was pretty easy for me to decide to buy this thing. So let's stop wasting time here. Let's go ahead and open this up. I was kind of curious to see how big this box was going to be with that extra battery pack built in, which is also a cool feature here. So no more wires. So not only will I not have to have the wire for the phone hanging off my head with the Avata, but I don't have to have the wire hanging off for a separate battery that I put in my pocket. Anyone who flies with the V2 probably had this happen where, you leave the battery in your pocket and you walk away and your goggles are sitting on a table and you yank them and they fall to the ground. So this should eliminate some of that. Let's go ahead and open it up. Okay, I already see this battery pack. It's got a really nice feeling grip to it. That seems like it's gonna be pretty comfy. Has a really nice solid feel. Wow. I knew the Goggles 2 were a lot smaller, and this is basically the same footprint, but it really is something to actually hold it in my own hands. This is the first time I'm actually seeing them too. The antennas are built in. They're not removable this time around, and there are only 2 of them instead of 4. But take a look at that size difference here. They're significantly lighter than the V2s. Thinner. It's just, I can tell that these are going to be pretty comfortable, I guess. Now, I've heard some people complaining about the foam insert. I'll probably end up replacing that with something that fits my head shape, my face shape a little bit better. That's what I did for the V2s. You get this extra thick foam to get less light leak and just a more comfortable fit. If I hold these things up to my eyes, I can already tell that's not very comfortable and probably gonna have a good amount of light leak. I can see a lot from the bottom left and the bottom right. Nothing coming from the sides necessarily or above, but I will definitely be getting something else. Just checking here. Yes, this clicks right out. Similar to the V2 kind of, I guess. Actually, the V2 has Velcro. There is no Velcro here. This is just kind of, if you've ever had an Oculus Quest or the Meta Quest 2 or anything like that, it's very similar to that, where it's just plastic and it clicks right in place. Let's see how easy it is to get back in. Yeah, a couple satisfying clicks there. So no Velcro. That's probably going to mean that the replacement foam is going to be a little bit more expensive since there's some injection molded plastic on there instead of just simple Velcro, but it'll be worth it. Hopefully it's not too expensive. Another key difference between this and the Goggles 2, what I wasn't crazy about, was that diopter adjustment. So instead, they have now a system where you can remove some of these detachable lenses to adjust for any kind of eye issues or adjustments or corrections that you need. But these sliders are still here, and this is what I'm used to with the V2s. Micro SD card slot here is kind of neat. I can see that that's just a way to kind of make a smaller form factor on the goggles themselves, because on the old V2s, the micro SD card was right here. They got rid of the digital LED kind of display that would tell you, what channel you're in. I guess now all it does is it's got kind of DJI's signature battery indicator LEDs. So four green LEDs for 100%, one for 25%. There's that joystick. Pretty excited about that. It is almost and possibly identical to the joystick. Yeah, it sure looks like the same exact thing. A little bit different. Slightly larger, it looks like, the joystick on the Integra goggles versus the V2. So a slightly larger thumbstick, which is nice. Should make it nice and easy to get a hold of that thing, navigate the menus. So wondering how to charge this battery. Looks like it has a tighten and loosen thing here. The adjustment. I suppose we are, you charge this battery by plugging in the goggles, because I can feel a wire going through this, which would power this unit. And the GPS module that's in there somewhere, I'm not sure exactly where. Let's take a closer look here at the Integra goggles and these dedicated buttons. So we had that touch joystick here. That is a physical switch, not touchpad. And we also have a dedicated back button right here. It's right there next to the touchpad or the joystick. And then the power button is down here, which is nice because with the V2 goggles, that used to be on, the external power pack, the little battery that you'd have to push and hold. So now you have a third button here on the goggles to power up the unit. There's your Type-C, your sliders there for the IPD, and that's it. Really not too much going on the goggles themselves. I appreciate the simplicity. You don't need more than that. So I have the DJI FPV drone that came out a couple years ago now. I have the DJI Avata, and I now have the O3 air unit in one of my quads, that CineLog 35 from GEPRC. And I also fly the DJI digital FPV through things like the Caddx Vista and the original DJI air unit. It's a lot of drones and a lot of different protocols that you have to manually switch in the goggles which type of unit you're flying with. There's no switch for that. You have to go through the menus and switch it. And what was happening was, as I was flying all my different drones, every time I'd switch it and then go back to it, so for example, if I'm flying the Avata, then I go to fly the FPV, I have to rebind it. It doesn't remember. And that was becoming a major nuisance. So to rebind every single time, and whether or not I had something small enough to push the button on the goggles, speaking of, I didn't see a bind button. I guess the bind feature now is by holding in the power button, like you would do with the actual drones. That must be it. There's no dedicated pinhole bind button on these anymore. That's actually kind of nice. So I don't have to remember to bring something super small to fit in there. But anyway, that was a huge nuisance, having to rebind all these drones. Even with 2 pairs of the V2 goggles, I was running into this issue. I had one goggle that was basically my FPV goggle and the other one for the Avata, but then I had the O3 thrown into the mix, so it caused an issue. And it seems kind of crazy to have to buy a separate pair of goggles for each individual drone, but unfortunately that seems to be the solution here. But I am very hopeful, and I haven't even looked this up yet, as far as if this thing will remember what it has been bound to. So I'll have to try binding the Avata to this, and then the O3, and then switching back and forth between the 2 of those drones, see if I have to rebind or not. Hopefully I don't. Coming back to the box here, there is a little box included that says accessories built into this thing here. So let's take a look and see what kind of accessories we've got. First up, a little plastic bag that has got Velcro strap for putting it on my head. This looks like a Type-C adapter here. So we got Type A USB to Type-C. Microfiber cloth. And here are 2 diopter adjustments, or lenses rather. See if we can open this up. So these would go, they screw directly onto the lenses inside of the Integra goggles and would help make things clearer for people who have certain types of eyes. I typically haven't had to worry about this. I have decent eyesight, but nice to have. Manuals, and then this here, another box within a box that's inside of the other box. Holy crap. All right. So here are the actual lenses that go inside of these little things here. So this would be your diopter lens attachments, left and a right. So it says L and R on these things. Quite a few. What I guess you do is drop the lens in here, remove what's on the Integra, and then slap the new one on, and you can actually put one on. You can do a different one for each eye if you'd want. So they are independent, and that just looks like it's a simple twist to remove. Let's just see here. Nope, you don't even need to twist it. Just pull it right off. It does have kind of like a little locking notch, so maybe there is a little bit of a twist movement involved. But looking at the actual lenses here, we have -8D all the way up to +2. So that's -8, -7, -6, 5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0D, and then +1 and +2D. So lots of different things in here for lots of different eyes that people have. And they have a nice little protective film covering them. Not bad. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can turn these things on. There you go. Made a beep there, just like every other DJI thing ever. I'm not hearing the fans kick on. Does have exhaust right inside there to the left and right of each lens, or to the left and right of the lenses. And then, all right, I'm hearing a little bit of a whirring now. Not as loud as the V2s, they're quieter. Maybe they don't get as hot, didn't need as much heat dissipation. The battery seems silent. So I'm gonna hold this up to the mic, see if you can hear it. It's just a slight whirring. I don't know if the RPMs will ramp up as it gets used more. Let me go through and take off the lens protectors. Looks like it's bringing me a menu here that is 100% Chinese. There's English. Change the language here. I'm gonna have to do another video explaining my reactions because obviously I didn't use this yet. I'm gonna get it up and get my drone up in the air. The drones I'll be flying like the Avata. And then also I have my CineLog 35 that's equipped with the new DJI O3 camera and air unit. So that is going to be compatible with these Integra goggles as well. Looking forward to the slightly enhanced resolution over the V2s. think these would go up to 810p in the goggles at 100 frames per second. And see if it makes a huge difference in the quality. I'm not really expecting that. What I'm looking forward to most is the convenience of not having extra wires hanging off my head for the battery and the GPS from a phone to fly, the Avata or any other future drones that would potentially require remote ID. So I will be trying this thing out and kind of coming back with some reactions, some of my initial thoughts, and hopefully this thing ends up being worth the money. So there you have it, the DJI Integra goggles. A lot like the Goggles 2, just a little bit pared down, but also with some extra kind of very welcome bonuses and a much cheaper price point at $150 less than the $650 Goggles 2. So that's it. Be sure, if you enjoyed this video and you like drone videos, I have a ton of drones, a ton of cameras, and I'll be posting lots of new content. Every week I post something new. Like this video, that helps out. Please subscribe if you want to see what I have coming next, and thanks for watching.